Chairman Boucher for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you very much, Chairman Rush, and I want to begin this morning by saying thank you to you and to your very fine staff, and to Mr. Radonovich from California, your ranking member, as well as to Mr. Stearns and his staff for the excellent cooperation we've had among ourselves as the plans for this joint hearing of our two subcommittees have progressed. I very much look forward to our continued collaboration as we consider the need for legislation and discuss the principles that privacy protection legislation should embody. Broadband networks are a primary driver of the national economy, and it's fundamentally in the nation's interest to encourage their expanded use. One clear way Congress can promote greater use of the Internet for access to information, for electronic commerce, and for entertainment is to assure that Internet users have a high degree of privacy protection, including transparency about information collection practices and uses, and control over the use of the information that is collected from those who use the Internet. I've previously announced my desire to work with Chairman Waxman, Chairman Rush, and ranking members Barton, Stearns, and Radonovich in order to develop legislation this year, extending to Internet users the assurance that their online experience will be more secure. Such a measure would be a driver of greater levels of Internet uses, such as electronic commerce, not a hindrance to them. Today's discussion will examine behavioral advertising and ways to enhance consumer protection in association with it. I'm a supporter and a beneficiary of targeted advertising. I would much prefer to receive Internet advertisements that are truly relevant to my particular interests. In fact, I have bought a significant number of items based upon targeted advertising delivered to me from websites that I frequently visit. And so I have a deep appreciation of the value of targeted advertising from the consumer perspective. It's important to note also that online advertising supports much of the commercial content, applications, and services that are available to Internet users without charge. And I have no intention of doing anything that would disrupt that very successful, in fact, essential business model for Internet-based companies. At the same time, I think consumers are entitled to some baseline protections in the online space. Consumers should be given clear, concise information in an easy-to-find privacy policy about what information a website collects about them, how that information is used, how long it is stored, how it's stored, what happens to it when it's no longer stored, and whether it's ever given or sold to third parties. Consumers should be able to opt out of first-party use of the information and for its use by third parties or subsidiaries who are a part of the company's normal first-party transactions or without whom the company could not provide its service. All of that would fall within the ambit of opt-out. Consumers should be able to opt in to use of their information by third parties for those parties' own marketing purposes. This arrangement should not prove to be burdensome. In fact, it's very much in line with the practices of many, if not most, of the reputable service providers today. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses about their reactions to this arrangement and how it can best balance Internet business models that depend on online advertising with adequate protection for consumers' privacy. For example, have I suggested a workable online opt-in and opt-out consent arrangement, or are there additional situations in which opt-out consent might sometimes be appropriate? What safeguards should be in place in order to ensure that consumers are giving meaningful consent to the sharing of their information both on and off the Internet? What role could self-regulatory organizations play in a statutory arrangement that ensures that all entities that collect information about Internet users abide by a basic set of consumer privacy standards? I also look forward to learning about emerging approaches to enhancing consumer choice and control over the use of information through efforts like the Network Advertising Initiative and persistent opt-out cookies. What benefits could these services offer to consumers? what is the best way to inform consumers about the availability of these services? And again, how should the consumer's meaningful consent be procured? I'm also interested in hearing a purview of what the future of behavioral advertising may hold and what services it might enable and how to accommodate privacy concerns associated with those future services. I want to thank our witnesses for taking the time to join us here today. They represent a broad and diverse range of interests and are all deeply knowledgeable about these subjects. We very much look forward to hearing your testimony. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.